Alright, so check it out. I've got my little 3/8 impact here. It's running 14.4. These are NiCad, I believe. I know they make lithium ones now, but this one works great. I've got some of the, whatever these are, the 7.4 in a 3/8, and it's good. It's a very speedy tool to be able to use. But this one has like 350 foot-pounds of torque or something. Like, it's crazy. But I had gotten out of the hand of using this one, and I've gotten to the point now where my batteries are trash. So the problem with that is, when I go to charge them, it initializes fine. Get a little flashy green light, but eventually this red light's going to start flashing, and it takes a couple minutes. So I'm going to pause it and we'll return to that. Alright, well, you can fast forward if you want. I'd like you to see that it's a defective battery and what I'm going to do to reverse to get it to work. So bear with me. When the red light starts flashing, you can fast forward till that point. And keep in mind, it says when red light is flashing, the battery is bad. So I know it was of significantly low charge, and if it starts flashing red, well, that battery's bad. Yeah, that means you gotta go buy another battery. The problem is these NiCads, I can't buy them from the dealer anymore. They sell the lithiums now, and if I went around replacing all my batteries every time they come out with a new battery, well, yep, there it goes. Battery is bad. Alright, so that is the same thing that I had here, and this one's hot because I've been able to charge it. These were both the same. So I jump started this one, and normally I wouldn't have done this kind of thing because, you know, there's no indication here what's what. I was able to probe around with my multimeter, and I found out that between these two, I got a small voltage of like 3 volts or something. You know, and if you flip your probes, it'll tell you polarity. So I didn't bother doing that. On my charger, it tells me which is which. It says positive, negative, N1, N2. Now this one only uses one of the N's. I think it uses N1 or something, but nevertheless, it tells me the polarity. So I know that, oh, my stomach's bubbling. I know that this one sitting all by itself is positive, and this one over here is the negative. So I opted to use my battery charger, and it says 10 amps, but ultimately it gives like a surge, an initial surge of over 15 amps. So what I did with this one is I took it apart, took the case off, so I could access these points easier. I could have used little alligator clips or something, but I didn't want to risk bridging these 2 points and messing something up. So I took the case apart, which is a problem in itself, because these are T10 Torx, and if you have just your standard little 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch hex bits here, you can access this one here because it sits up really high, but these ones they're down in the bore pretty far. Well, these are loose right now, so it's sticking up because I've already started to do this. But the problem with this is that the bore is too narrow for the body, the hex shank here, to fit down in there. So I had to drill out these 4 holes, and then I was able to drop the hex bit in, and it went down, you know, to like that far. So you can see the tops of those hex bolts are kind of shiny because I removed some of the material from drilling them. And then this one comes all the way out, and these other 4 are captive. So there's the battery pack, and it'll lift out of this housing. It's not really necessary to do that, so I'm not going to. So what I got going on now is I'm just going to hit it with this battery charger for a good little while. And let me verify that one. Yeah, the individual isolated one is positive. So turn my meter off, find there we go, battery charger plug, and then we're going to hit it. Alright, so it had an initial burst at it went well over 20 amps. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to keep bombarding it with over 20 amps here. Do that a couple times. I don't know if this is necessary or if you could just leave it on the charger. I did both. I hit it with these high amperage bursts for a while, and then I left it plugged in until I was getting some good voltage with my meter here. And it's showing 1253, but that is a charging voltage. So that's what my charger is putting out. So let's see what we're going to get without the charger. Showing 1125. So that's pretty good. This other one was 10 something. This one here, it was around 10 volts, and I was not able to get it to charge up. And this guy's nice and warm now, so we're going to stick him on there for a second. Alright, so both of these batteries, I had problems with. And they were both flashing red when I went to charge them. And this first one, it wasn't giving me no juice with my driver, my impact initially. And the other one, which we're jumping right now, it had a little spin to it, but it would quickly go flat. So this thing isn't even quite starting to heat up yet. I had left this other one on the charger, on the automotive battery charger. And it finally went full charge on this little red charger. So I guess we'll just go ahead and try it with this guy. I'd like to put at least one screw in this thing, because I'm worried it might break the pins off without them being supported. Alright, so stick this guy on the charger. And they all give me that flashing green light initially. It takes about two minutes, sometimes less. Sometimes it was about 45 seconds before it starts flashing red, and sometimes about 2 minutes. So, I don't know, I guess we'll wait and see. So we'll go up past the 15-minute mark here. And if it's still flashing, we'll conclude that hopefully this one is going to take a charge and be useful. I know this other one is working now, so I'm going to, let's just do that. Let's put the case back on this guy. Alright, so it's been like 2.5 minutes at least since that battery's been on the charger. So we'll go back, check it out. It's still charging. I think if we fixed it. So I just hit it, verified the polarity, and then hit it with about 20 amps. Because these chargers, I think they only put out about 5 amps. Yeah, it says 14.4 to 8 volt. And the output power is 14 to 18 volts DC at 5 amps. So the maximum amperage you're going to get on this charger is 5 amps. So we're hitting it with 4 times the amount of amperage. So I don't know what these chargers see or read to determine that the battery is bad, but it seems like maybe just the voltage is too low, and that the charger itself just doesn't have enough amperage to bring it back to life. But if it was a simple matter of replacing these, if I could get them, then I'd have to spend the money to replace them, which is not necessary, right? We can just jumpstart them. So that's one issue. The other issue for me is I can't replace these because they're lithium now. So if I wanted to replace these, I would also have to replace my charger, my batteries, and my impact wrench, which they make new ones, but they're way more expensive. Like, the new lithium stuff is way more expensive than this stuff ever was, especially the batteries. Well, I don't remember what those batteries cost, but so this one's all back together. Now that doesn't really give you an example of how much torque these things have, and I need to run them. I need to put it through its paces and then throw it back on the charger a couple times. But ultimately, I had 2 batteries that absolutely didn't work, and now I've got one that does work. At least it's taking a charge, and now I've got another one, or at least that completed a charge, and now I've got another one that is taking a charge. So I'm going to play with these a little more, and I hope you enjoy watching this. I got a lot of information from other videos, so there's definitely plenty of information out there. The first thing that I tried was simply to unplug my charger and plug it back in. When the red light kicks on, I guess that works for some of the older stuff, but it didn't work for mine. If I unplugged mine while the red light was flashing, and I left the battery plugged in, the battery actually provided enough voltage for it to keep memory or something, because I could leave it unplugged for like up to a minute and the red light would continue to flash. So I plugged the battery in, I plugged the charger in, I'd let it run for 30 seconds, I'd unplug it, I'd plug it back in. I did that several times, and then I would leave it plugged in for the duration, and it would still kick on a red light. So the plugging in, unplugging, and plugging back in technique didn't work for this setup. But we've been going on about 7 minutes now, and this one's still charging, so I think we're going to be good. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks.